Small business is an important part of our city and how our economy works, and as a business owner, there are many parts and pieces that contribute to that success. Through this program, we hope to provide businesses answers to questions that often come up in difficult situations. Hello, and welcome to the Business Toolkit. I'm Mandy Wellner with Richland's Economic Development Department, and joining us today is Cerise Peck, Crime Prevention Specialist with the Richland Police Department. Today's episode talks about what you do when someone breaks into your business. How should you respond? Who should you call? And thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Couple of questions that we have today. What should I do if I come into work and say the window or the door has been broken into? What would be my first steps?
So step one is you're not going to go inside. You're going to step back and you're going to call 911. That's something that would warrant a 911 call. You don't know whether or not the individual is still in the business. You don't know what kind of evidence is in there. And so best thing to do is just, take a step back, maybe even go back to your car, call 911, and we will respond and take it from there.
Good thing everybody has a cell phone nowadays, right?
Yeah.
How can I protect my business from break-ins before I ever even come to work and see an issue? What was something that I could do?
So we offer what's called a crime prevention through environmental design survey, which it's a target hardening evaluation of your business. So we look at your lighting, we look at your signage, we look at your windows and all those sorts of things. And that's something that's offered from the police department to all residents and businesses in the city of Richland. So you can have that survey done. The most important thing to do is to make sure that you have appropriate lighting outside of your business and to make sure that you have adequate security. So, is your deadbolt 2 inches? Different things like that to harden the target of them breaking in. And also cameras are always a great deterrent. So and we love cameras because then we can get footage of what happened. But those are probably the top 3 things that we recommend.
Awesome. I think that's really helpful. If I come in and say we're back to that break-in situation, is that something that I would call 911 for, or is that more of a non-emergency situation?
No, that's certainly a 911 call. If you come to work and the front door is broken open and there's no knowing if the person is still in there, no knowing how long ago it happened, and so certainly it needs to be a 911 call so that we can respond appropriately.
Okay. How long do you think it usually takes for police to respond?
So our respond time has a couple different factors. One is going to be where we are at the time that the call is placed. So at any given time, we have 8 to 6 officers working the entire city. So if it's a non-priority call, then it might take a little bit longer for us to get there. But certainly, if you call and you feel like it's taking a little bit longer than you expected, you are always welcome to call back and ask about the time delay. And usually the dispatcher will let you know, we have an officer that's aware of the call and they'll be on their way as soon as they finish this call or whatever. So a lot of people, feel like they have to just sit and wait, but you're welcome to call back and ask if it's been a while and you're not feeling like, we're showing up. So.
Okay. No, I think that's great. In the case of a break-in, what type of information are officers going to ask, and what would be helpful to have up front to be ready for that kind of situation?
It really just depends on what type of store it is and what's missing.
Okay.
They're going to ask, what time did this place close? Who was the last person who, here? Do you have any cameras available? What items are missing at this point? Was there money in the cash register? There's lots of questions that'll be asked. And so over the phone, the best information you can give the dispatcher is, what time you got there and if you have knowledge of the last time it was left intact. So that would give us a time frame of when it happened.
Right. Yeah. And then call last night's staff or
whatever.
Okay. So would having an up-to-date inventory be helpful, or is that something they would just have you kind of go in and look around and see if you see anything missing?
Well, having an up-to-date inventory is helpful for many reasons.
Sure.
For any business, but you would be able to tell us quicker what was missing. And again, there's some places that they're just looking for a quick grab. Some places they're looking for cash. Things that can be pawned. And so knowing what you have and knowing how much was left in the till or, in the safe, all of that information is important so that you're able to provide it to us for the case report.
That's great. What is the likelihood that the person's going to be caught in a situation like that?
That's kind of a tough question because, we do have a pretty good success rate on catching individuals. We do have some great undercover teams that do a lot of investigative work. We have the power of social media, so if we can get pictures, we're happy to, ask the community to help identify people. It really just depends on what information is left behind for us. Is it something that's happened to a couple other businesses? I always like to describe, the way that we operate as a giant puzzle. So many people think, well, I'm not going to call that in because it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But you really could just have that little puzzle piece that we needed, that we've been waiting to connect something. So possibly your business was one that they left something behind, or that they took something peculiar. So you just never know what's going to lead to us solving an incident.
Because of other things that have gone on, you may not have all the information for. So what do you recommend to help staff feel safe when they're leaving their store after dark? I know you talked about the assessment and lighting.
Yeah.
Are there other things or lessons learned maybe that have come out of other situations?
So if you have staff that are working late at night, especially, closing a store on their own, a couple recommendations: allow them to move their car closer so that they don't have to walk all the way through the parking lot at night. So, before the last employee or the second to last employee leaves, if they could move their car closer to the building, that way they're not walking as far at night. And if they could park under a light, that would be even better. If you're closing, you don't want to take forever to close. So make sure you have all of your stuff put together in your bag, ready to go, or your hands aren't tied up. Be aware of your surroundings. And at the end of the day, if you don't feel safe, then you need to ask somebody to escort you to your car.
Okay. What type of security procedures should small businesses have in place to follow daily?
So daily, I am a huge advocate for cameras. I know that they can be a little costly up front, but in the long run, there's nothing better than having footage, especially external and internal footage of what's going on in your business. Just having safety precautions, maybe letting them know your procedures on who to call and what needs to happen. If you have somebody that's going to do the deposit, you need to have a conversation with them on, not just walking out the front door with the deposit bag in their hand, and just being more aware of their surroundings and the people that are coming and going from the location, and protecting themselves.
And even just some maybe real simple daily procedures that people follow just as an opening and closing, and kind of keeping things consistent sounds like it probably would be helpful too.
Consistency is always great because you know what to expect. So when something is not in the norm or in the consistency, then it triggers that employee to know that this is not the way that this is supposed to go. It kind of gives them that intuition that, this routine that we've always had is not the same.
Some heightened awareness, which is always good. How useful, so you like the idea of security cameras. How useful are they in the event of a break-in? Do you find that there's actual footage that's useful? I know back in the day, right, they weren't necessarily clear enough to see any images. So are you finding they're better now?
Cameras are amazing now. You can get, some pretty affordable Wi-Fi cameras that get us good images. An image is invaluable to us if we can identify somebody from it, and having even a partial picture, something that, like an image on a hoodie or a tattoo, or there's other pieces that we can gather from those images that might not even, register to somebody else, but
you're used to looking for them.
We're used to looking at them, and sometimes officers, they know the people that do these crimes, they're familiar with them, and so they can look at an image that would be grainy to you and I, and they would be able to be like, yeah, I think I recognize that person. So cameras are incredibly important to us. We're actually looking at launching a camera registry. So what that would look like is local businesses and residents who have those capabilities would be able to register them with us. And then let's say, a business in Uptown was victimized, then we would reach out to a radius and say, who has camera footage in this radius, and everybody who is willing to provide us with it, we would be able to utilize that. So maybe they broke into your business and went around the corner, and another business caught them, walking by, or a house across the street was able to catch them. So there's different ways that this camera footage has benefited us.
In addition to just establishing a timeline too. So even if it's not an identifier, it can kind of help you get the course of events.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great. So how likely is product recovery, and is there anything that businesses can do to make that more likely or to, kind of set you guys up for success?
Product recovery is kind of difficult sometimes, depending on the product too.
Sure.
Some products are a lot easier for them to move than others. So if it's a common product, clothing, super easy for them to move, tools, stuff like that, those are pretty easy. More identifiable objects such as, like a guitar or, a custom made piece, those are a little bit easier for us to get back. You'd be surprised. We do recover a lot of stolen property. The problem is knowing who it belongs to.
Sure.
So if we don't have any way to specifically identify where that property was removed from, then it's difficult for us to return it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, keep your insurance policy up to tack. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching today's episode. And if you need more information or have topic suggestions for future episodes, please contact info@richlandbusiness.com or myself at 509-942-7595. Thanks and stay safe.